on my mind.
Al Gore said that by the summer of 2013 that the Arctic ice cap would be completely melted and that the southern ice cap, the Antarctic, would be almost completely gone. He's on record. He also said that hurricanes would be twice as bad as they currently are, and or at that time when he said it a decade ago. And he also went on to basically say that the temperature would be 3 degrees hotter. Well, it is being reported today by Bloomberg.com, linked as the top story on DrudgeReport.com, that there have been no named storms for the first time since 1992, and hurricane overall levels in the Atlantic and the Caribbean are at the lowest level ever recorded. That's a little separate factoid. Tornadoes are at the lowest level they've been since 1960. You have to remember, they didn't have Doppler then blanketing the country, so it's probably the lowest it's ever been since any recordings have been made, because now they have basically the whole country covered with Doppler. They know every time a tornado forms or sets down. The whole country's covered, unless you're talking about areas of Alaska. The whole continental U.S. is covered by Doppler radar systems. And it is the lowest level since 1960. That's USA Today. Lowest tornadoes, lowest hurricanes, and the ice cap got 43% bigger in the north, and also 20+% bigger in the south. I'm going to say that again. 43% bigger. Polar bear numbers are 5 times what they were in the 1954 survey. Look it up. Just take anything I say, type it into a search engine, mainstream news. People say, well, I thought mainstream news lies. No, most of the time mainstream news gets it right. It's when there's some big official story being pushed by government that you can bet your bottom dollar. You can bet your bottom dollar that it's a bunch of baloney. Remember this time last year, Secretary of State Kerry was on TV saying, we have got to strike Syria right now, or they're going to attack Europe and the United States. It's imminent. Lindsey Graham said nukes could go off on the West Coast in New York or in the Carolinas or in Georgia. Remember, CBS News, we did reports on it. If we didn't attack Syria right now, when Assad had done nothing and was battling al-Qaeda, the main force, now known as ISIS, for 3 years at that time. It's now 4 years. Now they're saying NATO needs to go into Libya because ISIS, al-Qaeda, is running around slaughtering everybody and taking over the central government. It's incredible. It is unbelievable. And you've got Republicans and Democrats sitting there blaming each other. Well, Bush was right to go into Iraq, and Obama was wrong to pull the troops out, and that's why it's all falling apart now. That's not even the issue, in my view. Why did Obama and NATO allow al-Qaeda in Iraq to operate in western Iraq and in eastern Syria until they now have engulfed the whole region and are attacking in Central Africa, North Africa, Western Africa? They're popping up in Asia. They're popping up in India, attacking people. These are real jihadis, folks, that have been green-lighted to cause a global crisis. And the reason I'm harping on it is that if we don't get public awareness about this going, the globalists are going to open the doors for these people to attack. I'm pointing out that they turned them loose so that if any black widows bite us in our beds at night, we know who let the black widows loose. You understand that? Because our government and NATO, the people running our government, these criminals, are turning al-Qaeda loose all over the world. But then separately, Obama says we didn't build our business, and that raising the debt doesn't raise the debt, and Obamacare cut your rates even though it doubled them on average, on and on and on. Even NBC News admitted yesterday that it's doubling rates and wrecking all these small businesses. That was in the headline. Obamacare costs big bucks and destroys jobs. That's what it was written to do. And guess what? There's death panels. Well, now Obama has come out. Remember, I'm going to pull the troops out of Iraq. I'm going to pull the troops out of Iraq. I'm going to finish what we need to do in Afghanistan. Our troops will all be out of Iraq the first year I'm in office. Now he's saying he never said that. So regardless of what you think about the debate about should we have been in Iraq or not been in Iraq, regardless, Obama ran on pulling the troops out of Iraq, and that's how dumb they think we are to get on the news now. It'd be like if George Herbert Walker Bush said, I never said read my lips, no new taxes. No, he said, I'm sorry I'm breaking my pledge, but I have to do this, and he got voted out of office over it. Now they would just say, I never said that you could keep your doctor. Well, yes, you did over 100 times. I never said I wouldn't come after any of your guns. Yes, you did over 100 times, you and that freak, Joe Biden. We're going to go to our reporters on the ground in Times Square. Tomorrow they'll be near Ground Zero covering the fact that Bloomberg's anti-gun foundation basically runs the New York event. There's so many angles they're going to be covering. And they also say New York's the big terror attack if they're going to let ISIS into attack. I don't know. The government's saying imminent, will happen on or before 9/11. I'm not saying that. I hope that's not the case. But I want to play a clip of Obama saying over the years that he wanted to get us out of Iraq and would. Now he's saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Here it is.
For the first time in 9 years.
That's 2012.
There are no Americans fighting in Iraq. 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq. We did. 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq. I did. 4 years ago, I promised to end the war in Iraq, and I did. I told you we'd end the war in Iraq. We did. I said we'd end the Iraq war. We did. I told you I'd end the war in Iraq, and we did. I ended the war in Iraq as I promised. In 2008, I promised we'd end the war in Iraq. We've ended it. I was able to keep my promise and end the war in Iraq. In 2008, I promised we would end the war in Iraq, and we've ended it. The war in Iraq is over. The war in Iraq is over from ending the war in Iraq. That's why I ended the war in Iraq. For the first time in 9 years, there are no Americans fighting in Iraq.
President, do you have any second thoughts about pulling all ground troops out of Iraq?
You know what I just find interesting is the degree to which this issue keeps on coming up.
This is 2 days ago.
As if this was my decision.
There you go. The Washington Free Beacon compiled that. Think about that. And then he basically goes on to say that he didn't pull them out. They are practicing lies out in the open to confuse everybody. Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.